Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. My name is Giridhari and today we're starting a three-part series on a wonderful section of the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna describes to Arjuna 26 divine qualities that we should cultivate to live a better life, to become more godly. Now these 26 qualities are mentioned in verses 1, 2, and 3 of chapter 16. And they're such wonderful qualities, they became famous as these 26 qualities you should cultivate. And we'll see as we go along these qualities, that each one of these makes your life better. What to speak if you start adding them up, what to speak if you can manage all 26 of them. So we're going to go through them, I'll explain what they are, and you'll see how your life can change if you cultivate these qualities. So let's get started. In this class, we'll only be going through 5 qualities. And in the next classes, we'll do the other 21. Okay, so the first quality, fearlessness. Now, fearlessness is something that's mentioned several times in Bhagavad Gita, from beginning to end. Acting without fear, being free of fear. Now, why is this mentioned a lot in Bhagavad Gita? Well, fear is what do you need to feel fear? What's required for fear? 2 things are required. First, your mind has to be in the future. Your mind has to be projecting towards the future. And 2, you have to be seeing in the future something related to matter, your body, a belonging, somebody else's body, something in matter, in the surface matter, in the material world, something which you think isn't good. You lose it, something won't be pleasurable, it will be painful. So your mind is in the future, seeing which you consider to be a bad thing. Now, why would a yogi be free of fear? A yogi would be free of fear because, first of all, the basis of yoga, the first step, the portal through which you have to go through to be able to be in yoga, is to be in the here and now. You want to bring your mind to the here and now. In the 3T path, that's the first thing we talk about, mindfulness. You have to be here. If you're not here, I call this the reality paradigm, because this is where reality is, right here and now. There is no other reality except this one happening right here and now. If your mind goes to the past, that's not reality. That's your version. It's like a fantasy version of the past, of something. It's a very, even neuroscience will tell you, memory is a very weird thing. We create false memories, we distort things, we only remember parts of it. It's a fantasy. The future certainly is a fantasy. We create these fantasies of the future. So I call this the fantasy paradigm. When you're not in the here and now, you're in fantasy land, you're in your mind. You're not in reality, you're just in your mind. And so in the future, you can go to the future, dreaming of things. Oh, I'm going to be so happy when I get this, or when I pass this exam, or when I get this job, or when I buy, and then it's just fantasy. Because when it comes, then it's not even that good anyway, whatever. But the same dreaming of good things immediately comes with a shadow. Because if your mind isn't in the here and now, it's in the future, dreaming of good things, immediately your mind is going to say, oh yeah, what if it doesn't happen? What if the opposite happens? So you want the job, you're dreaming of how wonderful it will be to have the job. What if you're unemployed? What if you can't get any job? What if you can't pay your bills? And so fear, you're reeling with fear. Who hasn't woken up 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and your mind is thinking, oh, the presentation, the exam, oh, this thing, and the bill, and the person's going to do this, and the person's going to do that. And your mind is going through these dark scenarios, and your heart is racing. You have adrenaline rushing through your body, And meanwhile, you're actually lying down in your bed, safe at home. There is nothing going on. It's the quietest, safest environment, and you're in fear. Your adrenaline, your body's reacting, preparing itself for flight or fight or freezing. And like, whoa, there's nothing going on. That's just your mind out of control. 2, in yoga, the whole thing we're doing in yoga, the whole Bhagavad Gita, is to get your mind away from matter, detachment. We want to bring our mind to the reality of spiritual existence, of your true soul. You're not your body. It's the first thing Krishna teaches. You're not your body, Arjuna. And then he goes on to tell Arjuna, and hey, your true you, your soul, cannot be, because they're in a battlefield. So he's like, it can't be cut, it can't be burned, it can't be drowned, there's nothing, you can't affect your soul. Matter can have no effect on your soul. You're going to be completely unscathed, no matter what is thrown at you. You can be thrown into the sun, a nuclear bomb can go off inside your body, and you'd be fine in terms of your true you. Your body would be vaporized, but you're not your body, so you'd be fine. And so what to speak of not being your body, you're certainly not your things. And those people you consider to be friends and family, they're eternal souls as well. It's just this life you happen to be together for a little bit of time. So actually there's nothing to fear, because all this is just matter. It's actually an illusion. In yoga, you learn that this is actually just like a humongous virtual reality system. So now we have those nice, MetaQuest goggles and other VR systems, but Krishna beat everybody to it. He made this amazing virtual reality thing called Maya, called universal material reality. So this whole universe is a giant open, multiplayer game, virtual reality. It's not true, it's not eternal, it's always changing. It has no true final substance in the sense that it's constantly changing. It's temporal, ephemeral. It's like a movie, like a wispy thing. But you're the true soul within. You exist forever, completely immutable, completely free of harm. So the more you cultivate yoga, the more you cultivate Bhagavad Gita and this 3T path, the more you can, your consciousness will focus on what's real, on your true self, on God, on your relationship, on your purpose, on love. So these things cannot be affected by matter. Purpose, love, God, you, these things are unaffected by matter. So therefore there's nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. So the more you advance, the more your consciousness develops, elevates, the more you become fearless. That's a very important concept that's always there in Bhagavad Gita, fearlessness. Okay, second concept, very, very important. Purifying your life in sattva. This is very important. So what's this? Sattva is a technical term from yoga. In yoga, you have 3 vibrations, 3 modes of material nature, 3 aspects of material nature, and they are listed as tamas, rajas, and sattva. Now, tamas is the lowest of them all. Tamas is just the lowest consciousness. It's where you have violence and things are dirty and mean and just bad things. It's like the worst kind of consciousness, tamas, very low. It sometimes is translated as the mode of darkness or the mode of ignorance. So it's a very low state of consciousness, tamas. Then you have rajas. Now rajas is the go-getter mentality. It's the, I want to win, I want to get this, I want to earn this prize, and I want to have this fame, and I want people to appreciate me, and I want a good status. It's this kind of this, common in today's society. So I'm going to do it, I'm going to get it, I'm going to look good, get rich, and it's just like win, number one, beat everybody else. This kind of mentality, which is very agitated. It comes with lots of anxiety, endless desires, and endless anxiety. Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita like this: endless desires and endless anxiety. So you're always wanting more and get this and get that. And you see people get really into this. So they have 1 million, and 1 million is no good. They want 10 million, 10 million is no good. They want 100 million, but 100 million is ridiculous. What I really need is 1 billion, and then billion, but then you're so poor. I need 10 billion, and but 10 billion, come on, 100 billion. And then look, but there's a guy who's got 300 billion. Okay, so I want 300. So then it just never ends. And just more and more and more. So it's terrible. So rajas. And then there's sattva. So sattva sometimes is translated as mode of goodness. But sattva is where you're actually sober. You know what's really going on. In sattva, you understand reality. And you do what's best. Not because you want more, not because of pride, not because of pleasure, and certainly not being like stupid or ignorant. No, you're doing things which are the best thing you can do, the best version of yourself. You're focused on purpose, on maximizing the potential of everything you have, of doing the right thing. So in sattva, your mind becomes clear, and you do the very best that you can do in every situation. Your focus is, how can I live my purposes? How can I be the best version of myself? So purifying your life in sattva then starts with food, the way you take care of your body, the way you speak, the kind of thoughts you cultivate. Your whole lifestyle is determined by the modes. That's why in the 3T path in Bhagavad Gita, there's this big emphasis on these lifestyle changes you should cultivate to be able to purify your life in sattva. And they're wonderful. For my birthday, my 55th birthday video, I did a video just on the food, exercise, just the lifestyle in sattva changes, and how wonderful they are. And I'll leave a link for that here below. I explain the kind of diet you have in sattva, exercise, and just if you just do the sattvic diet, sattvic care of your body, and then you start having this wonderful clarity of mind. You just become more peaceful, harmonious. Things become clear. It's wonderful quality just to be able to know what to do. Your life, your decisions come so easily. You just know what to do. You know what's the best version of yourself. You know how to act because you're focused on purpose. You can understand, to use a technical term, your dharma. You can understand what your dharma is and what's the best version of yourself. So very important, purify your life in sattva. Wonderful. So that's only 2. Third, perseverance in jnana-yoga. Now, jnana-yoga is a path of yoga, type of yoga that Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita, which we cultivate as part of the whole yoga system. Jnana means knowledge. Maybe you've heard of the word gnosis from the, so same word, gnosis comes from jnana, G-N, J-N, jnana, gnosis, same word. We still say ignorant. When we say ignorant, it's not gna, without knowledge, ignorant without knowledge. So that word means knowledge, jnana. And yoga, of course, yoga means connection. So jnana yoga is the path to connect yourself with the divine through knowledge. And Krishna glorifies jnana yoga. Through, of course, the whole Bhagavad Gita is, the essence of jnana yoga. But he glorifies and he speaks of the importance of jnana yoga, especially in chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. So jnana yoga, perseverance in jnana yoga, that's what we're doing here. Hundreds, I don't know if we're up to 1,000 videos already in this channel, hundreds of videos people who are following me more closely, hey, they're participating in my self-realization in yoga course, where we have hundreds of hours as well of study, my Bhagavad Gita course, hundreds of classes. So as you go deeper, there's a lot of knowledge to cultivate, and this knowledge is wonderful, and it completely changes your life. Because as you cultivate jnana, your eyes open up, you understand things. You want to know what's going on. This is perseverance in jnana-yoga, means because you have to stick to it. You can't just watch 10 minutes here and a little 5 minutes. No, you have to keep doing it. In the 3T path, I advise people to do at least 10 minutes every day. At least 10 minutes a day. Just 10 minutes a day of actual study of this transcendental knowledge. That's not much to ask for. And if you just do 10 minutes a day, after a while, you start seeing the world in a completely different way. It's very powerful because your mental map changes. A new layer is added to your mental map, to your vision of the world. So you can understand the events in your life, the events in the world, the way people behave. You understand everything from a different perspective. Very important, and you need to stick with it. So perseverance in jnana-yoga, wonderful, very important. 4, similar to 3, svadhyayah, sacred study. Svadhyayah, if you're a more serious student, you might remember svadhyayah from the Yoga Sutras. So Patanjali uses this term svadhyayah in the Yoga Sutras to describe this study, this sacred study, where you have your own sacred study. You're studying those things that are relevant to your path. So svadhyayah means your study, because your study might be a little different from that person's study or that person's study, because we have different focuses, different dharmas, different responsibilities. So then you have different things you should concentrate, you should study more of. If you look at the ancient Vedic concepts, you know that there were different lineages for the different Veda Samhitas. So like one lineage would study this, the Rig Veda, and the other one would study the Samaveda. And so you have your study. Everything's good, but you have to go deeper in your study. So depending on what your dharma is, and you want to study more, and also svadhyayah would also include just more knowledge that will support you in the practice of your dharmas. So again, it's study, but more now focused on you and your purpose, your purposes, your dharmas in this world. So that's 4, and now 5th, tapas. Now tapas is a very important word. Tapas, it's almost impossible to translate it into one word. I like using the word grit in English, because tapas, and I'll leave a link here in the description to a video where I talk about this battle in your heart, between the need to stick with tapas. Because basically, at any point in life, all the time, throughout the day, you have this choice. Do I do what's right? Do I do what's the best of me? Do I live my purpose? Or do I do what's called in Sanskrit kama? Kama is pleasure. So do I do what's just easier, what I feel like doing? And, they're often not the same thing. Sometimes they are. Sometimes what you want to do, what's most pleasurable, is your purpose and is your dharma. That's fine. It's great. So that's, lots of times you do something, you actually want to do it. It's nice. It might be your duty to go for a walk as exercise, and it's very pleasurable to go for a swim, and you actually do want to go for a swim, and it's like, it's nice. Okay, so that's the same thing. But other times it might be different, like, oh, I'd just rather sit on the sofa, watch a movie. I don't want to do any exercise. So then they're not the same thing. Or do I do my work, or do I just look at my social media? It's like, they're not the same thing, unless your job is to look at social media, but they're not the same thing. And so you have to okay, I'll do the right thing. So that's that grit, that determination to do the right thing, to be the best of yourself. So tapas means, what's my purpose? What's my dharma? What's the best version of myself? Not what's easier, not what's most convenient, these things. I don't care what's easier, most convenient. That's not gonna be part of my equation. What's most convenient, what's easier, not part of my equation. My focus is what's the best of me, what's my duty, what's my purpose. That is what I'm going to do. So that's tapas, that's grit. Choose the right thing every time, not the easy thing. So that's tapas. So that's it. Those are the 5 qualities we're going through today. And in the other 2 classes, we'll go over the other 21 qualities. So these 5 qualities we watched today is fearlessness, purifying your life in sattva, perseverance in jnana-yoga, svadhyayah, sacred study, and tapas. Let me know what you thought of this, if you like this series, and have your rest of your day with lots of peace and lots of love.